In fact, the world's second largest religion. According to demographers, it's said to become the world's largest by the end of this century. And yet so many people are defining it by the smallest sliver of radical Islamists, and that gives them even more power. Joining us to talk about all this and much more is Sahar Al-Salami, a board member of the Council on American Islamic Relations in New York. Sahar, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, my pleasure. I want to get your take on all this. And let's just start with Mr. Trump's proposal. When you first heard it, what was your reaction?
Well, when I first heard it, it didn't surprise me because Mr. Trump has not left, it doesn't seem to me he's left any minority unattacked. I mean, obviously he has a chronic pattern. He started with Hispanics. He's attacked the Black Lives Matter movement. He, a couple weeks ago, made fun of a disabled reporter. So it's not surprising that he would continue this pattern. One of the things that really surprised me the most is when he talked about banning the Muslim immigrants. If he knew the history of Muslims in the United States, my Arab heritage, culturally I'm Arabic, but my Muslim heritage, we were not immigrants. We were slaves that were brought over from Africa. Those were the first Muslims that came back in the 14th, 15th, and 16th century. So we've had a long history of Islam in America. Thomas Jefferson, invited Muslims to come and have iftar with him. He had a copy of the Quran. We had Muslims involved in the Revolutionary War, in the Civil War, and the Civil Rights Movement. So we've been involved in the tapestry of this country for years. I came here. People often growing up would say, my family came here on the Mayflower, go home. And I would kind of say, well, I came here on a plane with a student visa. I was a baby and my mom came to do her PhD. So sometimes you kind of wonder about...
You come from Iraq,
I come from Iraq originally.
And you grew up where?
I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and in Florida. So he doesn't understand the contribution or how entangled we are with the history of American society.
So how have we gotten to this point? I mean, there are terrorists who attacked this country. There are terrorists right now at work, and yet moderate Muslims like yourself and most Muslims are getting the blame for all that. How do we get to this point?
I think when somebody attacks another person, it comes from unresolved pain. I think it comes from fear of the unknown. I think it comes from not knowing your neighbor. I think it comes from not doing a lot of internal work. And it comes from perhaps him not understanding his own spirituality and his own comrades in the American society.
Every religion, every nationality, every race has its extremes on the political spectrum. Muslims have theirs. How do you, as an activist, deal with the radical extreme, which has sparked fear in a lot of people? How do you deal with it? What do you say to people who say, well, now I'm afraid of Muslims?
Well, I do a lot of work in the interfaith arena. I grew up in Catholic schools. I grew up in a Jewish neighborhood in Pittsburgh. So I've been part of the interfaith pluralistic society. And what I have learned is that all religions are roadmaps to justice. All the scriptures are roadmaps to justice. And the essence of all faiths is attaining for a peaceful society in this world.
So how do you get people who are now taking an extreme position to listen to what you just said? How does that happen?
Everybody, when they are lost or when they are in a community that's perhaps facing oppression or facing poverty or facing relocation or migration or facing lack of jobs, hunger, you don't know how they're going to react, and you don't know the context or the situation that's going to drive them to extremes, whether it's in Ferguson or whether it's in Iraq or whether it's in a lower income neighborhood or whether their lack of education. You don't know what drives a person internally to seek to go to these kind of recruitment places. But what we can do is we can look within our own faiths to see how we can try to cooperate within each other, all these problems together.
There are many people who say, well, until moderate Muslims take up the fight and help stop the radicals within their religion, it's going to continue. What do you say to them? And are you doing that?
Well, I think we've been doing that for a very, very long time. I think at times kind of diminishes the work that we've been doing to contribute to society. Most Muslims that I know are involved already in the public sector. I mean, you cannot go to a hospital or to a university or to a food service industry or to transportation and not find a Muslim, either at the highest level or at the lowest level. I think most religious organizations do have their extremists, whether it's the KKK. I mean, that certainly does not represent Christianity, as much as they, you know, wail and say, always we're Christians.
Say they do.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's up to the person to get to know their neighbors and understand the other religions.
Well, I hope people listen to you this morning, and I thank you for joining us this morning.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
When we come back, we're going to continue our